John.
Oh well, it could have been worse. Could have been Jimmy Barnes' other son from the Tin Lids hosting the arias.
Yep, I guess so.
Thank you, Mr. Mole. If you're anything like me, you're often putting your foot in it, saying the wrong thing at the wrong time. I walk into a room, everyone's got a long face. I say, sheesh, who died? And then some girl breaks into tears and says, I'll tell you who died, my brother. And then everyone looks at me like I'm some sort of bastard, like it's my fault her brother was decapitated in a car crash earlier that morning with his head found in a nearby tree. Or I'm at a smorgasbord buffet with some Armenians and I say, chicken's okay, but turkey's great. And they start screaming that turkey's not great, and how can I defend that country after the 1914 massacres? Like it's my fault that expansionism forced the Armenians into Soviet integration in 1921. But I could say the wrong thing at the wrong time for the rest of my life, and still not equal the coincidental bad time faux pas of American rock band Dream Theater. It was September 11, 2001. New York's World Trade Center was engulfed in flames. That very same day, Dream Theater released their album Live Scenes from New York, the cover art showing New York's skyline engulfed in flames. The album was immediately pulled and the cover art revised. But what we have here is hardly something new, because the history of recorded music is a history of pulled album covers. Possibly the most infamous example is the Beatles' Yesterday and Today. Not this version, which nearly everyone who owns it has, but the original version. Released in 1966, the album was barely in circulation before Capitol Records recalled it, claiming that even though the gory image was meant to be a satire on pop art, the point was being lost on most people. Numerous copies are still in circulation, mainly because they merely glued the new image over the old one and people have steamed it off. Now over the decades, everyone from Scorpion to Jane's Addiction have had their cover art revised, but you don't have to go overseas to find examples. In the early 90s, you pretty much couldn't turn your head without seeing some Ken Done merchandise. His iconic images of Australia were plastered on every t-shirt, tea towel, coffee cup, calendar and bikini. In fact, many people, upon seeing the Sydney Opera House for the first time, were disappointed that it didn't look like a giant wobbly pastel crayon drawing. It was in this environment that Melbourne band Tism released this CD cover, featuring a very Ken Done looking koala sucking on a syringe. Did you really think you were going to get away with it?
Well, yes, in the sense that we believe in a utopian society where you can say anything about anyone and get away with it. Yes, we did believe in that sense.
So, and what was the exact nature of their objection?
I believe they felt that we were denigrating the image of Done, who is of course an artist, to be said in the same sentence as Picasso and Delacroix. So our, I suppose, appropriation of the Done image was seen to be in poor taste.
So now you came up with a solution, which was a slight compromise, which was this. Now, what was the problem here? There was a problem here?
Yes, incredibly, the Done organisation felt that as we were still alluding to the original design, we were in fact still committing the same heinous crime.
Was the Done organisation happy with you just pulling them off the shelf, or did he want any...
No, he wanted a sum of money, which of course we can't disclose. But let's just say it was fairly close to the sort of amount that Radiohead spends on buying friends.
And what was your third album cover?
We came up with the idea of censored due to legal advice and a photo of Sinead O'Connor.
Was your record company getting sick of all of this?
Oh, no. Well, our record company were too busy on their yacht snorting cocaine off the butt crack of Moroccan boys to actually be aware of what was going on.
So appropriating Ken Done is fraught with danger. But you'd think that McDonald's, what with their funky rock video-style advertisements, would be more down with the kids. But oddly, they're not. In fact, present a McDonald's-themed album cover to your record label and you'll probably receive an anxious grimace. David, I heard you've been starting trouble with the good people at McDonald's.
Yeah, that's very true, John. We didn't deliberately do it. We just made what we thought was a very good record. And it was a sarcastic record. It's a clear parody of fast food culture. Apparently, McDonald's saw our offensive artwork and they threatened us personally, the band, our record label, our distributor, our tour promoter, radio stations who ran ads or were in any way associated with the record. Pretty much anybody involved in the entire chain got massive threats of being sued with passing off, copyright infringement, the whole gamut, all those sorts of things.
So were mushrooms straight up with you and just said, hey, we're not releasing it because it's got a McDonald's logo on the front?
I did see a letter that came from them just saying that they would not honour the contract and would refuse to release the record, and that was just the way it was going to be.
Who did you go to next after Mushroom?
We went to Festival Records, and I actually spoke to the head of Festival Records at the time, who was very enthusiastic. He's actually a very nice guy, and he was very enthusiastic. He just said, look, I think it's great, I really want to do it. I just have to show it to Lachlan, to get the final approval.
Lachlan?
Yeah, And
Lachlan who?
the son of the big man,
Okay,
the big boss daddy man. And I never heard another word from them ever again, actually, about that. Yeah.
Oh, really?
And so it finally ended up with Shock. It came out in Australia for about a week and a half.
What happened after a week and a half?
Well, as it's told to me, all the chain stores around Australia withdrew the album from their shelves on the same day, saying that they'd received legal advice not to stock the record.
No problem with it getting released in America?
No, it's out in the States, it's out in Europe, it's out in Japan. As the lawyers explained it to me, the major stumbling block that we faced in Australia was that Australia has no legally protected right to freedom of speech or freedom of artistic expression.
There you have it. A story without a happy ending. But here at Music Jamboree, there are no losers, only winners. To prove it, go to musicjamboree.com and download our pre-scratched McSnog Scratch and Win cards. Print them out, cut them out, and take them down to McDonald's.
Look, Mum, 3 David Brussels. I want a Porsche 911.
Now take them up to the counter and demand your prize. If they start any trouble, go down to a current affair and start a public relations nightmare.
Not actual or authorised promotion. Did you know another Shock record release, Not So Tough Now, by Frenzal Rom, also featured the McDonald's logo? And that wasn't pulled. How unfair's that?
When the Melbourne Age reported on its city's most elitist nightclubs, one came out clearly on top, winning the exclusivity prize. Friday nights at 161 Paran. The club's own publicity brags of only letting in a particular social breed. Here's the infamous orange doors. There's no sign to alert you that it's even a club. You just have to know. There's no bouncer waiting outside. He just peers at you through the peephole. And there's no queue either. Because when you knock, the bouncer, through a crack in the door, either grants you admission straight away or tells you to be on your merry way. They don't want anyone clogging up their footpath. Okay, we're outside 161, the famous orange doors. And what's being attempted here is possibly the most difficult manoeuvre in anyone's social calendar. Trying to get not one, not two, not three, not even four, but 9 males, all aged 18 and 19, into one of Australia's most elite nightclubs. Their presence has been noted, and it's a knockback. Yep, it's a knockback. So what happened?
Like, I just get there and the guys already like...
He'd already had his
Yeah, already had his hand out.
You're saying we're booked.
Get away from me, get away.
Oh, no, they closed the door, that's what confused me.
You need to be on the list.
You have to go up to the door and peep through the
Yeah.
little... The peephole's cool.
When a rock star, say Jarvis Cocker of Pulp, tours Australia, it's par for the course for his record company to contact the groovy nightclub and give advance notice that the star plans to drop in. This is done so he can be whisked past a queue, post-haste, and be treated in the manner of which he's become accustomed. So it's simple. Ring up the elitist nightclub of your choice, pretend you're representing a visiting rock star, and then on the night, just rock up. But John, I might get away with a phone call, but I look nothing like Jarvis Cocker, or Britney Spears, or Iggy Pop, or Ricky Martin, or anyone else you choose to mention. So when I arrive at the door, the jig will be up. Well, as usual, what you're forgetting about is Slipknot. Formed in 1995, they released their debut album, Mate, Feed, Kill, Repeat, and then received major commercial success with their self-titled follow-up. Their 2001 release, Iowa, debuted at number 2 on the Australian charts and number 3 on the US charts, selling over 250,000 copies in its